There's no doubting the fact that we all view and handle money very differently. And that's illustrated by the fact that there are so many different types of budgets out there to help us accomplish what is roughly the same goal, to teach us what is and what is not worth spending money on, and to simultaneously make sure that we're living on less than we make, so that our futures can be provided for. Regardless of whether you're working with a detail budget, a reverse budget, a percentage budget, an automatic budget, a value or time-based budget, or some sort of custom budget, they're all working towards basically that same goal. And today we're going to be taking a look at one more percentage-based budget known as the 6 jars budgeting method. We're going to be talking about what the 6 jars budgeting method is, as well as what I like about it, what I think should be kept in mind while using it, and of course, who this budget might be particularly good for, and where it could potentially fail. Hey everyone, Daniel here, and welcome to Next Level Life, a channel where you can learn all about investing, debt, retirement, and many other financial topics besides, because let's face it, the schools aren't going to teach it for us. So if any of those topics sound interesting to you, or if you want to learn how to better handle your money and have more financial freedom, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to my name to be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to further support the growth of this channel, you can check out some of the links I've left down in the description below, which includes a 30-day free trial of Audible and 2 free audiobooks of your choice, as well as a list of some books on money I'd recommend checking out with your free trial. Or you can smash that like button if you haven't already, share this video with a friend, and leave a comment below letting me know what topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. The 6 jars budgeting method is a budget that's been popularized by T. Harv Eker, and is very similar to some of the other percentage-based budgeting methods that I've covered on this channel, like the 60% solution and the 50-30-20 budget. Here's how it works. According to Eker's blog, which is the most recently updated version of this system that I could find, you start by taking your income and split it into 6 different jars based on the following percentages. 55% of your money goes towards necessities, which includes things like food, rent, electricity, and recurring bills. 10% of your money goes towards long-term savings, which includes things like your rainy day fund, big-ticket purchases like a new car, vacations, paying off debts, and unexpected medical expenses. 10% of your money goes towards the play jar, as Eker puts it, or the fun and entertainment items such as spoiling yourself or your family, and other leisure or recreational activities. 10% of your money goes towards education, which can include things like school, but also coaching, mentoring, books, and things like online courses. 10% of your money goes into what Eker calls the financial freedom account, and obviously that goes towards things like stocks and mutual funds, bonds, passive income vehicles such as businesses and side hustles, real estate investing, and basically any other form of investment you can think of, so long as it helps you achieve your own financial freedom. And the final 5% of your money goes towards giving, whether that be to a church, a charity, or a friend or family member in need. So what I really like about this particular use of the percentage-based budgeting model that I don't remember being specifically used in other similar budgeting methods that I've covered on this channel is that specific focus on education. And again, not just education in the go to school and get a degree sense, although that is one of the options that is listed under the category, but also the focus on self-guided education through the form of books, courses, mentors, maybe even webinars, and the like. I've talked about the importance of education in previous videos on this channel, but it's worth restating here, because using education to give yourself specific skills that you can then apply to the marketplace is, in the end, how we all earn a living. It's also a crucial step in how successful side hustles are made. For instance, say that John wanted to sell a book on how to lose weight. What skills would he need to acquire in order to accomplish that goal? Well, he certainly would need the expertise for one, and be capable of writing a good book, and those may very well be skills that he actually did learn in traditional school. However, some other skills that most of us probably didn't learn that much about in school, unless we took some specialty classes that John would also benefit from having, include things like copywriting, marketing, whether on social media or in the more traditional sense, how to build a strong personal brand that sells itself, how to build an audience would certainly be very beneficial, and accounting is always a nice skill to have. We could go on and list a few others, but the point is, most of us probably didn't learn that much about many of these skills in traditional school. Again, unless we took specific classes. But that's okay, because any of us can read books or take courses on those subjects, or even find someone who has already become successful at doing whatever skill it is we're trying to learn, and see if we can learn that skill directly from them. And as John gets more practice and learns more of these skills, he'll then be able to create even better books that help people lose more weight and keep it off, and as a result, he'll probably sell more than he ever did before and improve his bottom line. He may even decide to expand into other branches of business, such as coaching clients one-on-one through their weight loss plan, which again would just further improve his bottom line. It would also require new skills, such as the ability to motivate people and just good communication in general, but you get the idea. Education is very important for helping us to make more money, but also important for helping us to save more money. Reading books on budgeting and frugal living can help you get ideas and ways to save money that you wouldn't have ever thought of on your own. The other thing I really like about this use of the percentage-based budgeting method is that giving is also specifically focused on. Now, it may only be at 5%, and we can certainly debate whether it should be more or less than that, and I'll come back to that percentage thing in a minute, but I do like the fact that it is at least there. Because I understand that some of us have more room in the budget to give than others, but I do believe that giving, in one form or another, should be part of everyone's plan. Now, the things that I think we should keep in mind while using this version of the percentage-based budget is that the percentages are, to quote Ecker himself, recommendations and ultimately goals for you to get to, not definitive rules. We believe the habit of managing your money is far more important than the amount. So if you can't follow the percentages to a T, then take an amount that you can manage and start there. And I think that's an idea worth pointing out because in some of the other percentage-based budgeting videos that I've done in the past, I've recently been getting some comments saying that some of you are skeptical on any budgeting method that puts percentages for certain categories that everyone should follow. And I completely understand where you're coming from with that, because everyone's financial situation is different, as Ecker pointed out in the quote I just read. But I would also like to add my own personal take on what Ecker said, because not only are our situations different, and not only is it possible that, say, necessities might cost us more than 55% starting out and we'll have to kind of work our way down towards that kind of a number over time, but our goals and our dream lines are also different. What we value spending our money on and what we value getting from the money that we spend is different. So with this budget, or really any percentage-based budget that you come across, when you get right down to it, what we really need to be thinking of, I believe, is what are we trying to get out of our money? I've done a whole video on this question, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. It's on what budgeting is really trying to teach us. But once we understand what we're trying to get out of our money and what, to us, is worth spending money on, we can come up with our own percentages and then maybe even automate our budgets based on those percentages, as best we can anyway, so that we can reach our goals and live the life that we want to live. Let me give you an example of what I mean here, and this is not to take a shot at Ecker or his budget, I'm using this as an example. Ecker has set a goal for us to put 10% of our money towards our financial freedom. The financial freedom jar included things like stocks, mutual funds, bonds, real estate, passive income vehicles, and other investments that are intended to help us achieve financial freedom. However, what if one of the things that we really value the most was our financial freedom? What if we didn't have quite as many material wants as maybe some other people do, but we really wanted to have that freedom to take a 2-month sabbatical whenever we wanted to travel overseas? That dreamline might be harder to accomplish, at least regularly, if we have a traditional 9-to-5 job, unless of course we're able to telecommute or we work for a really understanding and flexible company. But unfortunately, at least right now, that's not the situation for all of us. So say for example that Jane earns $36,000 a year and followed the percentages suggested by the 6 Jars budgeting system to a T. That means that she's spending $19,800 a year, or $1,650 a month, on her necessities alone, and saving $3,600 a year, or $300 a month, towards her financial freedom, which is what she values the most. If we follow the 4% rule, which states that you need roughly 25 times your annual expenses saved in order to have a reasonable chance of not running out of money in retirement, and we assume an average 8% rate of return on her investments over the long haul, it will take Jane roughly 32 years to become financially independent, based on just her necessities. If we included the rest of her spending into this calculation, it would of course take even longer. She's saving 10% of her income for herself, which means that in one way or another she's spending, or at least will be spending in the case of the long-term savings jar, about 90% of her income. In Jane's case, that would be $32,400 a year, or roughly $2,700 a month. Assuming the same rate of return, Jane would need roughly 38 years to have enough money to be financially independent on her current lifestyle. And that's before factoring inflation into things, because of course the 4% rule is based on the first year's expenses in retirement, not the first year's expenses when you begin saving. What I'm getting at here is that in Jane's case, since she values that financial freedom so highly, she may want to adjust some of the percentages in that financial freedom jar so that she can live her dream line earlier on in life. If she doesn't, it's quite possible this budget could fail her. Unless, of course, she takes a page out of Ecker's playbook, a page that I wholeheartedly agree with, by the by, and starts to generate a passive income stream, or even multiple passive income streams, through not just investing, but also side hustles. The idea being that this will not only raise her income so that that 10% savings rate will be more effective in terms of raw dollar value, but also, in an ideal scenario, her passive income grows to enough to fund her lifestyle without actually needing to wait the 38 plus years. And Jane may even take this further and decide that she really wants to accelerate this process as much as possible. In which case she could of course go the passive income route with the side hustles while still working her full-time day job, and simultaneously increasing that 10% savings rate to a larger percentage of her income. Say if Jane started a side hustle that allowed her to take home an extra $1,000 a month on top of her day job, and she raised her savings rate to a whopping 50% of her income, thanks to some creative savings techniques. That would mean in this new scenario, she's earning $48,000 a year and saving $24,000 a year. Now, her financial freedom number is just 25 times the $24,000 that she's spending per year, as opposed to 25 times the $32,400 that she was spending before. And since she's saving roughly $2,000 a month, she hits her $600,000 new financial freedom number in a little under 14 years, assuming that same 8% rate of return. So who would this budget work best for? Well, you know, the nice thing about these percentage-based budgets is they're capable of working well for pretty much anybody. But I do think it would probably work best if you're someone who already has a fairly good idea of what it is they value and a fairly good idea of where your money is currently going. Because again, the downsides to these percentage-based budgets is that they don't have much detail, at least in comparison to detail budgets like the zero-based budget. So it is possible to lose track of where exactly your money's going. But this is less of a crucial issue if you're coming into the budget with your finances already relatively under control and your values surrounding money already relatively understood. But that'll do it for me today. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button if you haven't already, subscribe, and hit that bell next to my name so you'll be notified of all my future uploads. I generally upload every single Monday, and if you have a friend that would be interested in this kind of content, be sure to share it with them. Let's really get this information out there and start our own financial revolution.